Hello and good evening, everyone. It's back to the start of the schedule once more. Round 14 from the FQPL. We're out at Terrelba Park for this clash between Mitchelton and Peninsula Power. Good evening. It's Rafe Griffin with you in commentary this evening. We're about to see the two teams come out onto the centre of the park. Firstly, let's thank some of the sponsors for our competing sides this evening. For Mitchelton, their proud supporters tonight are Northwest Physiotherapy and Gaythorne RSL. Let's take you through the Mitchelton side and a couple of surprises in their lineup this evening. In goal is Ben Sonta, 4 Jordan Loy, 2 Tom Schultz, 9 Jordan Dozzy, 10 Kai Barnes, 11 Simon Beale, 12, Michael Morrow, 14, Peter Drager, 17, Kosi Yanakopoulos, 18, Sam Foster. And the surprise I was talking about, we thought he'd retired, but in shirt number 8 tonight is Matt Biggins. The reserves, Hamish Bell, Samir Rezai, Blair Ferguson, and Damon Wenk is the reserve keeper. For Peninsula Power, they wish to thank their sponsors, Rate International and Furnex. Their side this evening, in goal is Jake Reesby, 3 Matt Boyd, 6 Ramon Close, 7 Dean Briggs, 8 Josh Woolley, 9 Ollie Smith, 10 Tom Strickland, 15 Sam Roper, 16 Luke Plummer, 17 Jamie Fairgrieve, and 20 Trent McAvoy. Their reserves are Harry Smith, Braden Cook, Zayden Basson, Sam Cronin, and the reserve keeper is Jared Pollock. Our referee tonight, proud sponsors of the referees for Football Queensland this year are Total Tills. It's Adam Kersey, of course, is on the A-League panel, and he'll be assisted by James Sherry and Adrian Krasnov. So it looks like it'll be the home side, Mitchelton, that will have first use of possession. As I said, we've now completed the first round of fixtures other than some catch-up matches. Adam Kersey just pointing to the goal to our right. Perhaps there's some repair work that needs to be done prior to the start of this game. Perhaps something stray found that in, but I think we're just about ready to go now. It'll be the lanky Jordan Dozzy for Mitchelton. That will get us underway. Friday night football. It's round 14 from the Football Queensland Premier League. It's Mitchelton up against Peninsula Power from Terrelba Park. And the first foul of the evening goes Peninsula's way, with Briggs remaining down after being inconvenienced. Yanakopoulos just apologises to the Englishman. Getting to it was Drager ahead of Ollie Smith. Of course, we saw Peninsula Power last week in the live stream game against the Sunshine Coast Wanderers. Throwing from Fairgrieve as they look to find a way forward towards goal, Peninsula. Dozzy with possession for Mitchelton, and Roper arriving on the scene very quickly. This is Beale. It's the 1-2. They've given away possession. So too does Strickland for Power. Drager getting involved. Roper couldn't get to it. Instead, it's Foster for Mitchelton, for Beale. Mitchelton trying to hold on to possession in the midfield. Switch a play onto the left-hand side. And Peninsula win back the ball. Remain Close, who started on the bench against Sunshine Coast Wanderers last week, into the starting lineup for Peninsula Power. We'll take you through some of those changes in just a moment, once we get these opening proceedings underway. Jack Panther, Joel Bosco and Corey Lucas Played in the 4-3 win against Logan Lightning for Mitchelton last week. As I mentioned earlier, Matt Biggins as well as Hamish Bell into the squad for Mitchelton, the Mustangs, this evening. Two number 10s go at it. It was Kai Barnes for Mitchelton that won that first battle. Here's Smith. Oh, I thought it was a fair challenge, but the Mitchelton player Dean to have offended against Ollie Smith, who scored in the 3rd minute last week in that 2-1 victory for Peninsula Power against the Sunshine Coast Wanderers. Briggs with his free kick for the visitors. 2 set in the wall for Mitchelton. Adam Kersey just ensuring there's no rough play there. Nodded on, and they've scored again early. Is it Ollie Smith again? No, it's not. I think it might be. We'll pick up in a moment. It's Matt Boyd. 3rd goal of the season. And once again, it's an early blow for Peninsula. Goal in the 4th minute from the defender Matt Boyd. Using the height to steer it home. And Peninsula are 1 to the good. 4 minutes in. Sonta in the Mitchelton goal. So speaking of Matt Boyd, his usual defensive partner out tonight, Michael Ryan. We saw him suffer a serious injury in that game last week that we covered on Sunday up on the Sunshine Coast. This is Beale. Threads it through for Dozzy. Deep off his line is Reesby. The decision will go Peninsula's way. And of course you can follow all the action from the leagues on the social media channels for Football Queensland. Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And the poll going on Instagram tonight about who you think will go to win. And already the early way is for Peninsula Power with 68% of the vote as the cross is delivered in by Yannikopoulos. Dealt with by Power. Ball out on the right. Oh, heavy collision. And Adam Kersey has picked it out. Luke Plummer is one of those players who comes into the squad this evening. Hasn't played in 3 weeks or so. The other notable omission, along with Michael Ryan, is Richie Hurlin. Sam Cronin into the squad, trying to get onto the park for the first games for him since the 28th of March. So, slightly getting back to fitness, Sam Cronin. He trained in the pre-match warm-up up at the Sunshine Coast last week. Didn't take any part in the game, though. With the injury to Michael Ryan, that reshuffle that we saw last week, Jimmy Fairgrieve had been playing in a more forward position, now playing left back this evening. Ramon Close, as I said, into the starting lineup and up front for Power. Goal kick being forward for Peninsula by the keeper in Reesby. Close, the aforementioned Ramon Close. Briggs. Backed away by the Mitchelton defender. Rising high first was Dozzy in front of Boyd. Cleared away by Loy heavily. Coming into this game, it's 7th place Mitchelton with 5 wins, 2 draws and 3 losses. Up against the 1st place Peninsula Power with 11 wins, a draw, still undefeated in the inaugural season of the FQPL. Defence has been the key for both sides this year. Peninsula conceding 12 to be the second best defence. Mitchelton conceded 16, third best in defence. Here's Dozzy. And in terms of attack, 26 goals for Mitchelton this year, the majority of them coming through Jordan Dozzy, with 8 goals so far this season and a host of individual contributors. Chris Bacon, who trained in the pre-season at Peninsula, is next best for Mitchelton with 5. He's not out there this evening though. Roper for Peninsula, good win. And Peninsula with the best attack in the league with 47 goals. Still no Dan Cunha. Unavailable for selection. Hacked away by Roper. Drager will bring it down. Been normally accustomed to see Peter Drager in an attacking position, an up-front position. Now playing defence at his new club Mitchelton this year. And a corner here for Power. So if you have just joined us, it's Matt Boyd who opened the scoring for Peninsula Power in the 4th minute. Once again, an early goal for Peninsula. Variation perhaps on the corner. It is steered in towards the near post. Chasing it hard is Close. And it's good enough to win the ball against Beale. Good concerted effort from Ramon Close. Through by Briggs for Woolley. And composure coming in. Matt Biggins. Told he's been training here at Mitchelton for the last 4 weeks, and they've strung a bit of a surprise with his inclusion, as I said, after announcing his retirement at the end of last season. Told by the Mitchelton management that he's in some of the fittest form of his career. A couple of seasons at nearby neighbours Brisbane City in the NPL in previous years. Last time these sides met, it was a close encounter down at AJ Kelly back in the first round of the FQPL. Reesby gets to it before Beale. Sam Cronin and Dean Briggs scored for Peninsula. It was Jordan Dozzy for Mitchelton. Peninsula Power that 2-1 victory back in the first round of the season. In the hands of Sonta. Away by McAvoy. Mitchelton slow starters to the season, just picking up 4 points through their first 5 games, but since then, currently in the middle of a 5-game undefeated streak. Brought away by Strickland. Slides past Loy. Mopped up by Biggins as Mitchelton attempt to clear their defensive half. Drager decides to go himself. Now plays it wider for Beale, who gets towards the corner flag. And his shot is blocked by Jimmy Fairgrieve. And a corner here for the hosts. Jordan Loy will be over to take it. It's a hive of activity at Terrelba Park this evening, as it always seems to be on a Friday night. Plenty of football going on behind us, to the right of us. Probably one of the biggest complexes in terms of field playing space in Brisbane. As we wait this corner for Loy. It's driven in towards the back stick. No pressure there really for the Peninsula defence. An easy clearance away. We saw Peninsula last week take that late winner through Tom Strickland. Thought Sunshine Coast Wanderers were a bit unlucky not to at least come away with a point at home last week. But I think that's the sign of a true champion team that Peninsula are proving themselves to be at the moment, and that's why the boys from the pecking order are telling us that they have the second longest unbeaten streak in the country right now with 13 games. Not a bad side to be running first to in the Bentley Greens from NPL, and they're down 1-0 at the moment to Port Melbourne in the NPL Victoria, so perhaps some motivation for Peninsula to keep that unbeaten streak alive and perhaps overtake Bentley. And the first yellow card of the evening comes the way of the returning Matt Biggins, who you can definitely not accuse of not taking a step backward. Right in front of the Mitchelton bench, that one. Welcome back, Matt Biggins. Straight into the referee's notebook. So Peninsula off to retrieve that ball in order for the free kick to be taken. Got a couple of very interested spectators over my right shoulder that I'll talk about in a moment. So free kick here to Peninsula Power. It's driven in towards the box, nodded away by Dozzy. By far the tallest player out on the pitch this evening. Here's Beale. Sent forward by Foster. Two Peninsula defenders there to hassle Beale. They will win the throw-in decision though. Controlled by Mitchelton for Drager. And now Giannakopoulos. Threaded through for Beale, who gets to the byline, cuts it in. It narrowly passes past Morrow there it was. Peninsula have withstood that salvo from the Mustangs. Sent away, Biggins to retrieve. Gets to it in front of Smith. Caused a little bit of a connection out there this evening. Tim Lawson, one of the assistant coaches for Peninsula, used to ply his trade here at the Mustangs. As well as Leo Siriani, the former coach, who's now helping out at Peninsula Power. Leo tells me he wouldn't be here tonight. He's camping on Fraser Island. And he might be watching. Who knows? So Dozzy is being collected. He's clutching at the right ankle, it looks like. Just trying to put some weight on and regains his feet. Biggins is in for a chat. Adam Kersey dispenses him. So Loy with the free kick for Mitchelton as the hobbling Dozzy returns to his position. Once again, Mustangs unable to find a way through that Power defence. This is close. Oh, good through ball for Strickland. Drager miscue. It's had a fair bit of wear and tear. Field 1 at Terrelwa Park. bit bare in some of the goal mouse in the centre of the park, and Dozzy has gone down again. The physio will come on. So, of course, this is just the first game of a triple header on the live stream this weekend. Tomorrow night, it's a Brisbane Classico, it's been dubbed. Lions versus Brisbane City from Lions Stadium. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. You can join Simon Smale on the Football Queensland Facebook page and the YouTube channel for that one. And then more action on Sunday from Wakeley Park in the NPL Women's, where Souths take on Moreton Bay. That a beauty it's shaping up to be. Two teams that will definitely be in the firing come the end of the season. So Dozzy is retreating to the sideline. I can't see. There's a couple of Mitchelton substitutes down in the far corner warming up. Dozzy is returning to the bench, so might just be collecting some attention here for a little bit. So Mitchelton temporarily down to 10, it looks like. Some strapping being applied to Dozzy in the background. Loy just takes a moment to consider his options, sends it long. Again, a good win in the air by Boyd. Yanakopoulos and Barnes. Oh, half to air swing from Foster. It looked like that allowed Close to get the ball. Sonta off his line, and Peninsula have doubled their lead through Ollie Smith. 20 minutes in. Defensive error from Mitchelton in firstly conceding the ball to Ramon Close just inside the Peninsula attacking half. That forced a scramble at the back for Mitchelton. Sonta off his line, couldn't reduce the angle, and in the end, Ollie Smith had an open net to slot into, and Mitchelton two down now, the home side, as Jordan Dozzy returns to the field, and the Mustangs are back to their full complement once more, and Close has gone through Barnes there. Lerny's talking to. Immediate contrition shown from Ramon Close. That probably brought him a bit of grace with the referee, Adam Kersey. Here's Loy. Drager looping down the right-hand wing. Can he reel it in time before it crosses the goal line? He's hemmed in there by two defenders. Once again, gritted determination from Fairgrave for Peninsula. So tough road to hoe for the Mustangs to reduce the deficit. Possession going Mitchelton's way at the moment, 61% to 39, but it's not reflected on the scoreboard so far. Taken quickly. Roper was the target. Contest there between Woolley and Drager. Very uneven height. Just the lone Mitchelton player up there in Morrow. Quick tempo from Power. Ball left behind, sent forward for Smith. So approaching the midway point of this first half. Matt Boyd and Ollie Smith, the scorers for Peninsula. Ball into the box. Cleared away, but not out of danger yet for the Mustangs. Goal kick will relieve some pressure, however. Just catching up on some of the comments on the Facebook post, and we do encourage you to let us know what you think of the game, who you think's going to win, where you're watching in from, etc., etc. Back to the pecking order, boys, again, while 68% of you said in the Insta poll that Peninsula would win. The stats from those boys say that's actually a 73% chance of Power winning coming into this game. That's certainly well enhanced now with this 2-0 lead that they have. 15% chance of a draw and a 12% chance of the Mustangs winning. And my usual colleague, Phil Davis, pestering me with the comments. Got a question for Rafe Griffin. Will Rochedale get promoted? Well, Philip, I think Peninsula odds on at the moment to claim the premiership and claim one of those positions, but what a tight race it is. From second all the way down to about 7th, 8th. So close at the moment. I don't know, it's a tight race in a few there, Phil, isn't it? Eastern Suburbs would have to be in the mix with their table position at the moment. Best attacking side in the FQPL. I think it's 48 goals that they've scored. Calls that triple threat up front that brings the Tigers plenty of goals. Geordie Farina, Uil Scholl, Abiango. This time it's close, it's been upended by Foster, the Mitchie skipper. Woolley, flashes across. Lurking was Ollie Smith. Fraction too fast for him. Will Gibson, thinking that Peninsula look like a tough side to break down. Looking forward to watching them in the FFA Cup. And coincidentally, the next step in their journey takes place on Tuesday night. That washed out game from round 5 that they've been waiting a couple of weeks to play. As Roper will heap on the pressure on Sonta. Tough trip for Peninsula, despite their opponents being 2 competition leagues under them. Peninsula off to Ipswich City Bulls from Brisbane's Viva Capital One on Tuesday night. Spot on round 6 in the offing for the winner of that encounter. And I mentioned before I had some interested observers behind me because the winner of that match will go on to take on the Brisbane Strikers in round 6. And David Large, the Brisbane Strikers football manager, an interested observer here this evening. Had a bit of a chat to him pre-match. And then I finally clicked why he was here. Strickland. Dan Cunha, thanks for watching in. Missed the last couple of games. Watching in from Brazil. His native Brazil. Claims of handball, they fall on deaf ears. Here's Dozzy laying it back. Couldn't he be hit hard enough to reach Beale, and Fairgrieve got to it first. Brought down by Smith. And he's given away the free kick. So once again the pressure relieved at the verge of that front third for Peninsula Power. Was Beale offside? Yes, the flag will go up against the Mitchie man. Speaking of the FFA Cup, of course, we have that round 5 game on Tuesday. Round 6 in Brisbane starts on Wednesday night. Affectionately coined the Bromance Derby, the good mates. Warren Moon of Lions, Scott McNichol of Rochedale in the respective technical areas. They'll be missing each other this year, not playing in the same league. But they finally get the opportunity on Wednesday night in round 6 of the FFA Cup to catch up once more, 7 o'clock at Lions Stadium for that one. Of course, during the week, Cairns FC recorded a 3-0 victory against North Queensland United to see them go through to round 7. I want to say for the 5th consecutive year, but combining the previous history, the Far North Queensland Heat and Cairns in there. Townsville-based sides just can't have the knack of getting past the Cairns-based sides in round 7. On by Dozzy. Yanakopoulos didn't get enough meat on it. Once again, the quick clearance from Power. So up in the northern zone, round 7. I think that will be played on the catch-up weekend that's scheduled in June, around about the 10th of June. Cairns and Magpie Crusaders, an all-NPL battle to decide who will progress to the round of 32. Can Cairns keep their record intact under the Far North Queensland Heat through to the round of 32 on all 4 occasions so far, but Magpies Crusaders will be hungry. Here's Dozzy. It's cut back. Clearance will come from Plummer. And in the southern zone, it's Gold Coast Knights and Sunshine Coast Fire that are waiting for round 7. Still a little bit of the way to go here in the metropolitan area. Of course, 2 sides will progress through to the round of 32. 5 sides have been there before. Ball by Woolley for Smith. Biggins desperately tries not to concede the corner and successful in doing so. Half an hour played. Peninsula looking to keep their unbeaten streak intact. Looking to make it 13 games undefeated. Hoping not to make it unlucky 13, but rather lucky 13 with this 2-goal advantage that they currently have. Dozzy has it once more. Able to evade Briggs. Looking to move quickly on the counter, the Mustangs. And they just hit a bit of resistance against that blue wall, right at the edge of the attacking third of the Mustangs. Now, referee having a quick chat on the run to one of the Peninsula players, it looked like. Briggs sizes up the target, slams it away. And at the moment, Peninsula are running rampant over the Mustangs. Individual effort there from Dean Briggs to bring up the third goal of the evening for Peninsula Power. And they're doing it quite comfortably at the moment. Do Mitchelton have a reply?
Next opportunity like that, open, go for it.
So Peninsula Power look well on track now to recording their 12th win of the season, despite there being around about an hour to play. Boyd, Smith and Briggs with the goal so far through 33 minutes. This 5-match unbeaten streak that Mitchelton currently possess looked like a major turn the corner. They still do have a couple of catch-up matches as well, Mitchelton, to try and improve on that current 7th place position that they have. Great tackle, Bordy was the call. Smith loses out. Attempting to win it was close against Barnes. Just need to compose themselves at the moment, Mustangs, and Beale. Foster. Oh, it's a collision between Drager and Reesby.
Well done, Drakes.
Reesby definitely never one to not go into a challenge half-hearted. As the keeper sends it long. One by Drager. Roper for Strickland. Strickland with the return ball back from Smith. Here's Strickland. Strickland continues. Briggs. And this time off target. Can't make it a second goal tonight so far, Dean Briggs, who scored in the 2-1 victory for Peninsula at AJ Kelly back in round 1. Good contest between Dean Briggs and Ollie Smith in terms of the leading scorer for Peninsula Power this year. Both have now moved to 11 with their respective goals this evening. Here come Mitchelton trying to pull back the deficit by 1. They'll have the opportunity to do so from a corner with 10 minutes remaining in the first half. Just awaiting the corner to come in. Here it is. Oh, there's a crowd of players there. It's baited pretty much everyone off the woodwork from Dozzy. Mitchelton with the second effort, attempted not on from Foster, I think it was. And the result will be another corner for Mitchelton. Well, that was scary times there for Peninsula. Mitchelton oh so close to reducing the deficit back to 2. Dozzy onto the woodwork. Another corner, once again into the middle of the pack. Like it was punched away by Reesby, and it floats over the bar. Nick Wills watching on, praising the efforts of Dean Briggs and scoring the third goal for Peninsula Power. Then we have Rozescu, I hope I've pronounced that right, watching from Romania. Enjoying the action far away from us here in Australia, but it makes his day. 1 p.m. in Romania at the moment, and very powerful, the team from Peninsula Power. And suggesting that perhaps Mitchelton will remain scoreless, although they did come very close there before. Beale, can they go against that prediction? Mitchelton. Giannakopoulos, looks like. Mitchelton, they're building up well. Once again, just unable to find a way through the power defence. Now, Smith, he'll be one-on-one with the defender. Forced wide and a good recovery from Biggins. Oh, and then there's an unfortunate collision. Straight back to his feet, Smith, Woolley. Low cross in. Yeah, just a bit of a clash there with one of the Mitchelton defenders in attempting to recover his position, accidentally knocked out Smith to the ground. Possession starting to even up a little bit more. We saw it as high as in the 60s before to Mitchelton, but now back to 53-47. Still in Mitchelton's favour though. Hasn't been hampering Peninsula so far. There's that one knotted wide. That was Plummer wide of the target with just over 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Biggins. Peninsula pressing to try and ensure that the Mitchelton players unable to try and get the ball out of their defensive territory. We were able to do so in the end, but not for any great result. Peninsula Power 10 points ahead in first place on the table. It virtually equates to being 4 games ahead with 12 to play in this second half of the FQPL season. If the score continues as it is tonight, it might just be a matter of when, not if. When Power collect the trophy. An offside against Peninsula. Sonta with the free kick. Dozzy. Squeeze between 2 or 3 defenders there. Played back by Smith for his teammate. Sonta again out of his area. Roper. Strickland. And Briggs. Fairgrieve will help out from the defence. Briggs is on his bike down the left-hand side, and Drager with a decisive touch. So 3 minutes plus stoppages to the half-time break. Close backtracks, tries to get the turn in. Close, and once again, it's Peninsula who score. Ollie Smith now claims his second on the night. Third time this year that he scored at least 2 goals in a match. He goes to 12 goals this season to overtake Dean Briggs once more in the Peninsula leading scorer tally. And 2.5 to play to the break. Peninsula are cruising, 4-0 up. Just seemed like in recent weeks that Peninsula was starting to come back to the pack with some tight 1-goal victories, and you thought that with Mitchelton's form coming into this evening that they'd put up a much better fight. Perhaps there might be some bite from the Mustangs in the second half once Coach Dan Panisi has delivered the half-time address, but going to be a tough task to claw back 4 goals against the current league leaders. Said that Mitchelton's defence, 3rd best in the league. Certainly not helping their cause, having conceded 4 inside the first 45 minutes. Looks pretty calm on the Peninsula bench, as you'd expect. Close. Might see a minute of stoppage time. That injury to Jordan Dozzy might just add a couple of minutes onto this first half. Battling hard was close. Here's Smith again, this time straight to Sonta. Couldn't make it a third inside the first half. Roper brings it down. Bit of miscommunication there with Strickland, one of the few rare blemishes from Power so far in this first half. Beale confronted by 2 Peninsula players. Fairgrieve will be able to keep it in, he does. Turns it straight over to the Mitchelton player in Barnes though. Here's Beale. 2 former Brisbane City teammates. Barnes. Strickland. Perhaps there's time for Power still in this first half. Looking for contact and a free kick were the Power players, but Adam Kersey would have nothing of it. Here's Biggins. Used to see him in a more midfield position in previous days. Now playing in the defence. He's returned to Mitchelton. First game back this evening. Yanakopoulos. Drager. Time still for the Mustangs to find a goal before the break to perhaps give them a little bit of confidence going into the sheds. Not with balls like that from Yanakopoulos, who couldn't link up with Dozzy. Here's Roper. And free kick to Peninsula Power. And that is the half-time break. Well, 4 goals inside the first 45 minutes. The scoring was opened early by Matt Boyd before Oliver Smith got on the score sheet to make it 2-0 for Peninsula Power. Dean Briggs scored in the 33rd minute, and then Ollie Smith again in the 43rd minute for his second goal of the evening. So at the half-time break, it's Peninsula, the visitors, that take the lead 4-0 over Mitchelton. Just a reminder, of course, this just the first game in a triple header in the Football Queensland live streams this weekend. Tomorrow, the Brisbane Classico. Join Simon Smale on the Football Queensland Facebook page and YouTube channel from 6 p.m. out at Lions Stadium for that massive clash between Lions and Brisbane City. And then on Sunday, NPL women's action with Darren Ludden, Souths hosting Moreton Bay United. But here at halftime at Terrelba Park, it's Peninsula 4 leading Mitchelton 0.
swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
I could watch them all day. Even though here, you don't feel like you need to. These are the moments I'll remember. You see, to me, it's not so much just having us all together, but finding a place that really brings us together. That's what makes Oaks Oasis special. When you only get a few chances, it's important to make them count. After all, memories don't make themselves.
Football is my favourite. I love playing it with my friends.
When I score a goal, I celebrate and dream of playing for the Politics Socceroos.
And this is where it all starts, with the Aldi Mini-Roos kick-off program. I grab my shin pads, boot bag, drink bottle and bowl, then join my mates for some fun.
It's great. We learn new skills every week through games and activities. These help us learn about teamwork and respect for others.
My mum cheers me on the sidelines. She loves watching me play. She likes it that football is such a safe sport.
But best of all,
we make lots of new friends.
And if we are lucky, we might run into the Aldi Mini-Roos ambassadors.
Wow, it's Archie Thompson. He's a legend. And Steph Natley from the Westfield Matildas. She is amazing. Come and join Australia's biggest football program for kids. Come and join us.
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
I could watch them all day. Even though here, you don't feel like you need to. These are the moments I'll remember. You see, to me, it's not so much just having us all together, but finding a place that really brings us together. That's what makes Oaks Oasis special. When you only get a few chances, it's important to make them count. After all, memories don't make themselves.
We did great today.
Football is my favourite. I love playing it with my friends.
When I score a goal, I celebrate and dream of playing for the Politics Socceroos.
And this is where it all starts, with the Aldi Mini-Roos kick-off program. I grab my shin pads, boot bag, drink bottle and bowl, then join my mates for some fun.
It's great. We learn new skills every week through games and activities. These help us learn about teamwork and respect for others.
My mum cheers me on the sidelines. She loves watching me play. She likes it that football is such a safe sport.
But best of all,
We make lots of new friends.
And if we are lucky, we might run into the LD Miniroos ambassadors.
Wow, it's Archie Thompson. He's a legend. And Steph Matley from the Westfield Matildas. She is amazing. Come and join Australia's biggest football program for kids. Come and join us.
So the team's coming back out for the second half of this round 14 FQPL clash from Terrelba Park. And Peninsula well and truly with the upper hand at the moment, leading by 4 goals to 0. Just a reminder, you can follow Football Queensland on all the social media accounts, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Of course, we've had our Insta poll this evening where the majority of you think that Peninsula will win this match, and they're certainly well on track to doing that so far. Power with 2/3 of the votes on the Insta poll. So Adam Kersey gets us back underway in the second half. Just had a casual walk behind both sheds at half-time, and Dan Panisi summed it up with a couple of words that just a couple of, or just some simple errors that led to goal, and thought his side might have looked a bit lethargic in that first half. Well, it was very cool and composed in the Peninsula sheds, as you'd expect. Coach Aaron Philp just dishing out some simple instructions to his side. Here's Woolley. Foster. Yanakopoulos. And Dozzy will place a little bit of pressure on Reesby to force him to scoop up the ball. Canapa Schultz there for Mitchelton. Morrow. Dozzy. Close. Wants the free kick given away. It's going Peninsula's way. Thought Close had the first contact, but Dozzy has been deemed to be the offender. The free kick will be taken by Jake Reesby. Woolley. Schultz down the left wing. It's going to continue the run itself. It's actually Morrow. Good tackle from Boyd. Opening goal scorer for Power. Barnes. Biggins. Loy. Beale nods on for the advantage of Yanakopoulos. Dozzy tempted back heel. Doesn't pay off. Touch on from Smith for Close. This is Beale. Slides past Dozzy. Yanakopoulos. Can he get to it? No. He comes away with it. Roper. And now it's Boyd. Strickland. Certainly not being harmed this evening. Peninsula Power with the absences of Dan Cunha, Michael Ryan and Richie Hurlin. Peninsula faithful on the far side. Just encouraging Dean Briggs on there. The buses come down again from Peninsula with all the supporters on it. Club with plenty of support, very tight-knit. Of course, over 4,000 for that FFA Cup encounter at Dolphin Stadium last year, where Power took on Melbourne City. Biggest ever crowd we've seen in the FFA Cup in Queensland matches. Morrow. Good work by Roper to force the mistake. Strickland and close. Strickland trying to battle for the ball. Couldn't retain possession. Dozzy. Scrappy at the moment. Loy. Both sides guilty of turning over possession. Close. Strickland. And Briggs. Sizes up Drager. And a corner for Peninsula Power 5 minutes into this second half. Games around the grounds for the rest of round 14 in the FQPL tomorrow. It's a bit of a derby with Wolves hosting Capella at Carmichael Park. Here comes that corner. Defended away by Mitchelton. Woolley just shields the ball from his opponent. Then has a miscue. Boyd. Bit of a tug of the shirt there on Morrow. Referee's going to let that one slide. Beale. Can he use his pace to get in behind the defence? Beale. No support though. And a corner though for Mitchelton. It's a reasonable return on that foray. Also tomorrow, Southside Eagles host Ipswich Knights, 6 p.m. at Perry Park. It's a good win for Holland Park Hawks against the Wide Bay Buccaneers back in round 1. The Buccaneers will travel to Whites Hill Reserve to try and get their first competition points of the season. Yanakopoulos blocked there by Plummer. Another derby in terms of proximity. Rochdale Rovers will be looking to get revenge on the round 1 loss to South when those two sides meets at Underwood Park tomorrow. And it's always a good fixture between Eastern Suburbs and Logan Lightning. Both those sides battling for a spot to remain in the top 4. So it should be a good encounter at Heath Park tomorrow night. So 5 games tomorrow night. Wolves, Capella, Southside Eagles, Ipswich Knights, Holland Park Hawks, Wide Bay, Rochdale Rovers versus South, and Eastern Suburbs taking on Logan Lightning. Sunshine Coast Wanderers have the bye in this round. Strickland, Woolley. Strickland up against his opposite number 10 in Barnes. Biggins wins the ball. Woolley, in fact, Strickland looking for the free kick. No, it was a very clear shout from referee Kersey. Here's Beale. Yanakopoulos. Beale hassled by close and effectively. Perhaps look a bit stretched at the back here. Mitchelton. Smith. And the intent was right from Smith. The execution just didn't quite come off with Plummer. As I said, the Mitchelton defence just looked as though they hadn't regained their shape, and Peninsula almost took advantage. Yanakopoulos. This will be no real test for Jake Reesby. Got a shout out to Mackenzie Van watching on from Manly on the south side. Good to have you watching on. Here's Roper. Loy. Yanakopoulos. Biggins. Referee Kersey blows the whistle, and a substitution being readied here for Peninsula Power with Sam Roper making his exit. And his replacement will be I think it's I won't preempt it. Yes, it is. It's the flame-haired number 12, Harry Smith. So a redhead replaces a redhead. How often do we see that in a football match with a redhead commentating? A rare triple threat for the Redheads as Mitchelton now make their first change of the evening with Simon Beale, the player to be replaced. In fact, it's a double change. Matt Biggins will also depart. So the two players coming on are 13, that is Blair Ferguson, and the other player on in jersey 6 is Samir Rezai. Scored an absolute stunning goal for the winner last week in that 4-3 victory that Mitchelton had over Logan Lightning. His team will be looking towards him again to try and provide some spark. So free kick taken. Woods evaded everyone and almost slides into the back of the net. There's a Mitchelton player who's down. Evaded everyone. And Peninsula almost added a fifth from the dead ball. I think it's Jordan Loy who's now regaining his composure after that goal mouth scramble. Sonta. McAvoy. Foster. Loy. Mitchelton bringing it into their own half. Tough test for both these sides again next week. Mitchelton travel up to Buderim to take on the Sunshine Coast Wanderers. Of course, we saw that match back in round 2 on our live stream where Sunshine Coast Wanderers came back from 3-1 down to score 2 goals in the last 20 minutes, if I recollect, for a 3-3 draw in their debut as a football club, not only in the FQPL, but overall the first game in their history. Peninsula will host Eastern Suburbs next Saturday afternoon. And with Eastern Suburbs in the top half of the table, it will provide another test for Peninsula Power, who are certainly the hunted team at the moment. Every game they go into, their opponents looking to be the first to claim their scalp of this season. Said earlier, big test for Eastern Suburbs firstly tomorrow night against Logan Lightning, and then having to back up against Peninsula Power. Woolley with the last ditch effort is Foster though. Next week, I know we've still got a couple of games this weekend to get through in the live streams, but Our FQPL live stream game next week that I'll be joining you with will be from Cornubia Park between Logan Lightning and Wolves FC Saturday night at 6 p.m. More FQPL action for you. Round 15 next weekend. This one's sent deep. Getting to it first was Morrow in front of his teammate Dozzy. Rezai. Foster. Dozzy. Scrambled away well. He's miscued that one. Plummer. Conceded a corner instead. Off the side of the boot. Numbers getting forward for Peninsula for this attacking opportunity from the far hand side. An hour gone, and Peninsula still maintain the 4-0 lead they took into the sheds. Option shorter they want to go. Mitchelton perhaps just drew a defender out of it. There's a goalmouth scramble. The turn on goal was from Foster, I think. And unable to find a way past Jake Reesby. On by Woolley. Strickland. Schultz. And again. Pressure from Woolley. Dozzy. Barnes, who hasn't been as influential as he has been in previous games. Away by Reesby. Brought down by Close. This is Woolley making his way into the box, and the save coming in from Sonta to tip it over the bar. Had to make a lunge for it. Vertically did Ben Sonta. Couple of power players making the run inside the box to try and confuse the Mitchelton defence. Ferguson. Squeeze between Woolley and Strickland. Strickland just throwing the hands up in a bit of exasperation as to how the Mitchelton man was able to get through that defence. And another yellow card produced, just the second one of the evening. One to either side now. Not sure if it was Fairgrieve or Close who collected it though for Power. Presents a free kick opportunity for the Mustangs as we approach the 20-minute mark of the second half. Plenty of talk going on out there. Here comes the free kick. And a corner this time now for Mitchelton. Possession still staying reasonably steady. They might be leading on the scoreboard, Peninsula, but they're not leading the possession stats at this stage. Still 53-47 the Mustangs' way. Signal given for how this corner will be delivered. High and long towards the back. Stick appears to be approaching it, already crossed the goal line, however. And a change being made for Peninsula. Is it Dean Briggs coming off? That's what I thought I heard. I may be wrong. No, it's Oliver Smith. So the 2-goal haul of Oliver Smith will be it for this evening. Coming on in jersey number 19 is Zayden Basson. Late substitute last week against the Sunshine Coast Wanderers as well. Rezai. Referee playing advantage after the substitute Smith was brought down. Woolley. Or the substitute Basson. Strickland. Plummer, and then Woolley. Won by Smith, plenty of encouragement from his teammates. Close. Here's Strickland. Strickland, can he tuck it away? No, he can't. Some claims from Peninsula teammates. Appealing to the referee. Close, dinks one over. Strickland. Peninsula going backwards, so the advantage not accruing. Briggs with the delivery and held by Sonta despite the dewy conditions. Certainly changed from a couple of weeks ago. It's definitely the winter woolies out now. Coats and jumpers are plenty as Adam Kersey cops one in the back. Just apologises to the Mitchelton player. Adam Kersey, of course, controlled the 2015 and 16 NPL Grand Finals. As I mentioned before, back on the A-League panel in the most recent Hyundai A-League season. He's blown a free kick for Peninsula Power. Maybe Briggs once more. Similar to last time round, a crowd of players inside the box. And Harry Smith deemed to be in an offside position. Two Smiths out there. No, it's not. Ollie Smith left, so still left with the one Smith now. Harry Smith. McAvoy with a rare intervention. The Peninsula Power skipper. This is Boyd. Plummer. 20 minutes to go. Plummer will try and reel this one in up against Foster. Foster trying to shield it across the goal line, and the assistant referee rules a goal kick. So 20 minutes for Peninsula to hold on and claim their 12th win of the season. Or perhaps an improbable 4-goal fight back from Mitchelton to try and at least salvage something out of this game and keep their 5-match unbeaten streak alive. Will fall for close after it evaded Ferguson. Couldn't link up with the Peninsula player on the far side. Good close. Final check of the Insta poll, and it's 60% of you believing that Peninsula will win this game. Reminder about the other action on the Football Queensland live stream this weekend. The Brisbane Classico on tomorrow night with Simon Smale. Kick-off at 6 p.m. at Lions Stadium. Heavily advised that you go out and attend in person, but if you can't, join Simon for the live stream of Lions versus Brisbane City tomorrow night at 6. And then the club pretty close to here, Moreton Bay, make the trek down to Wakeley Park on Sunday night in the NPL Women's. South currently top of the NPLW. Big victory last weekend. But Moreton Bay will be more than hungry to try and take some points away from South United. Join Darren Lutton Sunday, 6 p.m. on the Football Queensland Facebook page or the YouTube channel for the NPL Women's game between South and Moreton Bay United. Here comes that free kick. Coming under attack. The defence. Has it been slotted through? Saved by Reesby. One of the few times tonight he's been called into the action. Tom Schultz it was with the shot, but Reesby equal to what was being asked of him. That's why he is one of the leading glovesmen in Queensland. Oh, almost a glancing header there from the Mustangs to try and find the back of the net. Now we have a substitution for Peninsula, their third and final of the evening.
Great save.
And it looks to be Ramon Close who will take his leave. And his replacement will be, I think I know who it is. I'm just waiting for confirmation. It's Braden Cook in 14. So Sam Cronin won't be making his reappearance for Peninsula this evening, having not played since the 28th of March. Peninsula coaching staff electing to give him another week worth of rest, while this match appears to be comfortably sealed here for Peninsula with a quarter of an hour remaining. Mitchelton did have the target of trying to keep Peninsula out in this second half. It's coming up trumps at the moment. We're still at the half-time scoreline of 4-0. Half an hour into this second half. Briggs hassling the Mitchelton player, and right in front of the Mitchelton bench who are saying, hey ref, if it's a foul, blow it. We want the free kick. A little bit of an animated Mitchelton bench on the far side. Sent long into the box. Why wouldn't you when you've got Dozzy and Drager? Tall Timbera. There's a bit of a target. Plummer trying to win the ball back desperately. Dozzy. Could hear that heavy touch off the chest. Drager. Morrow in the thick of the action for Mitchelton. Cook. Woolley. Oh, he just didn't anticipate there, Cook. Continuing his run. Thought Woolley was going in a different manner. Then was caught flat-footed. Referee just issuing a caution on the run to Josh Woolley for that sliding challenge. Schultz. Dozzy. And that one deemed illegal by Woolley, and this time he'll pick the yellow card. Tempers balling over a little, bit of a chest bump between Woolley and Schultz. Third yellow card of the night. So Adam Kersey just completing his paperwork, while Jordan Loy sizes up the situation for Mitchelton. In comes that free kick. In the hands of Reesby. Basson. Won by Yanakopoulos, was it? Boyd. Plummer.
Press them up, boys. That's it, Simeon.
You might be able to hear in the effects mic some encouragement for Mitchelton. I think one of their assistant coaches is just on this side of the park observing. Away by Sonta. Free kick on the halfway line for the home side. 10 minutes to play. Can Mitchelton get on the board before this one is done? Give the home supporters something to cheer about and take home. Skipper Foster. Away by Boyd. Angling in towards our commentary position. Schultz. Ferguson in the 13 for Mitchelton. Ball drifted in towards the back stick. Once again, well defended by the visiting side. So referee Adam Kersey blows the whistle for a rare foul throw. Don't see it too often at this level of football. A few of the youngsters now out there for Peninsula. Given an opportunity by Aaron Philp and Ben Ryan to show their wares. The final stages of this game. Strickland. One for Basson. Foster looked to turn towards his keeper. Thought better of it. Harry Smith. And Boyd. And McAvoy. At the back for Boyd again. Plummer down the line for Cook. Peninsula just content to play the ball around and hold possession. All the way back for Reesby. Smith. Perhaps they've been given a task in this second half. Patience from Peninsula as they finally find the way forward. Woolley for Strickland. Briggs, there's a player looping around that left-hand wing. Probably Fairgrieve. Basson. Smith sending it forward. Has his effort cut out, puts the hand up to acknowledge that perhaps it wasn't quite the delivery that was being expected. Foster. Briggs. Right in front of the Mitchelton bench. Too far for Woolley to be able to reel in. Foster. Dozzy. Clash there between Boyd and the Mitchelton player in Foster. Sonta. It was Plummer. They got the better of that one-on-one, and now Mitchelton to make their final change of the evening. And it'll be Peter Drager who makes his exit. And coming on, might be Hamish Bell in number 5. Let's go with that. Yep, that's confirmed. So third and final change. Peter Drager off and Hamish Bell on for Mitchelton. Under 5 to play. Searching ball forward. Schultz, I should say. No T. SCHULZ. Tom Schultz. And jersey number 2 for Mitchelton tonight. Schultz. That's what it is. There he is again. This time attempting to win the ball from Cook. Basson. It's Ferguson. Decision will go the home side's way. He's taken it too far. As Schultz. Ferguson. Dozzy. Morrow. Now they're off to the races, potentially Peninsula. Well, he's had to check his run because had the ball been played through to him by Basson, he would have been easily caught in an offside position. Some 3 or 4 metres in advance of the last Mitchelton defender. Saunders played in. Cook. Cook with the second chance. Towards the edge of the area. Yanakopoulos now. Dozzy. Yeah, Rezai was dragged there by Basson. So just one final reminder of the upcoming games on the live stream on the Football Queensland Facebook page and YouTube channels. The Brisbane Classico tomorrow from Lions Stadium, 6 p.m. with Simon Smale delivering all the commentary and excitement and colour of Lions versus Brisbane City. Of course, those two teams, the pioneers of Queensland football into the National Soccer League. Proud history for both sides. And on Sunday, women's action between Souths and Moreton Bay with Darren Lutton from 6 p.m. And then next week, join me for more FQPL Logan Lightning at home at Nubia Park against Wolves FC next Saturday at 6 p.m. So the 90 minutes about to be completed. A scoreless second half. So no real injuries, not too many cards. Just the 6 substitutions. So we should be able to get away with the bare 2 or 3 minutes of stoppage time. So still time for Mitchelton while they're in their attacking half to at least get a consolation out of this game and a bit of a psychological blow if they can find a goal and come away with a 1-0 second half victory at least. Hoping to try and blot Jake Reesby's clean sheet that he currently has at the moment. Oh, it does open up here for Mitchelton, and that's exactly what happens because Blair Ferguson will score the consolation for Mitchelton in stoppage time. Peninsula supporters are now shouting at the screen that I jinxed them. But so Mitchelton will be able to take some comfort out of this game despite conceding those 4 first half goals. They're on the score sheet through Blair Ferguson.
Fantastic, Blair. Great goal.
Perhaps one of the youngsters for Peninsula can get on the score sheet themselves. There he is, the Mitchelton goal scorer, Ferguson. Plummer. Well constructed. Cook had his shirt tugged by Barnes. And referee Adam Kersey blows the conclusion to this encounter. And 4 first half goals to Peninsula Power. Firstly scored by Matt Boyd and then Ollie Smith with a brace. Dean Briggs with the 4th goal for Peninsula. And 4-0 break lead for Peninsula at half time. And Mitchelton scored a late consolation through Blair Ferguson. So Peninsula extend their unbeaten record through to 13 games. And now they're trying to chase Bentley Greens, who are down 4-3 with 3 minutes to go. So if the Bentley Greens go down, it'll mean Peninsula will take over the running as the team having the longest current undefeated streak in elite competitions or semi-professional competitions in Australia. But anyway, it's an end to this one, and Peninsula have come away with another 3 points. Their 12th win of the season, and the unbeaten streak, as I said, still alive. Peninsula 4, Mitchelton 1. Thanks for joining me this evening. Just a reminder, it's Lions and Brisbane City tomorrow on the live stream at 6 p.m. But from Terrelwa Park, it's time on behalf of the team to say goodnight. Rafe Griffin signing off, where Peninsula Power have defeated Mitchelton by 4 goals to 1. Good evening, everyone.